Welcome to MediByte. Now, when you hear the word syphilis, a pretty specific and, let's be honest, notorious infection comes to mind, right? But what if I told you it has three close relatives? I'm talking about diseases caused by bacteria that are almost identical, but they spread in a completely different way. Today we're going to dive into the forgotten family of Treponema, Bejel, Yaws, and Pinta.
So here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll meet the bacterial family that links all these diseases together. Then, we're going to look at the one huge difference in how they spread. After that, we'll get up close and personal with each one, Bejel, Yaws, and then Pinta. And we'll finish up with the best part of this whole story, the incredibly simple cure they all share.
All right, first things first. Let's talk about these forgotten treponemas and figure out what actually connects them. So to kick us off, here's a question for you. What is the one thing that ties the infamous disease syphilis to these three other infections that, most of us have probably never even heard of? Well, it all boils down to the bacteria. See, all four of these diseases are caused by these little spiral-shaped bacteria, or spirochetes, from the genus Treponema. They're so closely related, in fact, that the diseases they cause are all lumped together in a group called treponematoses. This shared DNA is really the key to understanding everything else about them.
Okay, so if the bacteria are basically cousins, what's the big deal? What makes them so different? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because it's not about the bacteria itself, it's all about how you get it.
And here it is, the absolute game changer. While we all know syphilis is a venereal disease spread through sexual contact, Bejel, Yaws, and Pinta are not. They spread through any kind of close, skin-to-skin contact. That makes them non-venereal, and that one fact changes everything. So think about what that means. It means these diseases spread really easily between kids, especially in places with poor hygiene. Bejel can even spread just by sharing a cup or a spoon. But what's really fascinating is what's not on this list. Unlike syphilis, these diseases don't spread through blood, and they aren't passed from a mother to her unborn baby.
All right, let's zoom in on our first profile, Bejel. And this one is really tied to a very specific kind of place. They call it the disease of the dry lands.
You're going to find Bejel almost exclusively in the hot, arid parts of the world. So think the Eastern Mediterranean, Sahara, and West Africa. This geography is a huge part of its story.
Now, the way this disease progresses is slow, and it's sneaky. It often starts in childhood, with little sores inside the mouth that you might not even notice. Then these moist patches can develop, and they might stick around for months or years before they go away. But the disease isn't gone. Later, sores can pop up on the body, and in its final, awful stage, it gets really destructive, forming these lumps in the bones that can cause terrible disfigurement of the face and limbs.
Okay, so from the dry lands, let's do a complete 180 and head to the humid tropics to meet the next member of this family, Yaws.
Yaws thrives in the exact opposite environment of Bejel. It's a disease of hot, humid, equatorial countries. So we're talking about parts of Africa, Latin America, Asia, and the Pacific Islands. Yaws also has its own unique timeline. It usually starts with a single raised sore, often on a leg. After that heals, these soft bumps, called granulomas, can appear on the face and limbs. Then, in the late stage, the skin on the palms and soles of the feet gets thick and cracks, creating these really painful sores. It hurts so much to walk that people end up walking on the sides of their feet, which is where it gets the nickname crab yaws. And if you don't treat it, it can lead to these destructive growths that disfigure the face and shins.
And that brings us to our final profile, Pinta. What makes this one stand out is that its impact, while you can definitely see it, is literally only skin deep.
Pinta is found almost exclusively in the Americas, and it's particularly common among the native populations in Mexico, Central, and South America.
So, unlike Bejel and Yaws, Pinta does not attack the bones at all. Its entire life cycle happens right there on the skin. It starts with these itchy, discolored patches that get bigger and thicker over months. They often show up where bones are close to the surface, like your elbows. And eventually, these patches lose their color or turn this really distinct gray-blue, leaving a permanent mark, but without any of the deep tissue destruction you see with its cousins.
So we've got these three really distinct diseases, right? Different parts of the world affecting different parts of the body. But here is the most amazing, most hopeful part of this entire story. They all share one single, ridiculously simple solution.
So, how do doctors even diagnose these? Well, here's a weird biological quirk. Because the bacteria are so similar, a standard blood test for syphilis will actually come back positive if you have Bejel, Yaws, or Pinta. And that little fact isn't just for diagnosis, it's actually the key to their treatment.
And here it is, the most important thing to take away from all of this. For these chronic, potentially disfiguring diseases, the cure is often this simple. One dose, one shot. That's it.
I mean, just look at the treatment options. They're incredibly accessible. A single pill of azithromycin or a single shot of penicillin G can usually wipe out the infection completely. Even the backup plan, doxycycline, is just a simple 2-week course of pills. The bottom line is the cure is cheap, it's effective, and it's unbelievably straightforward. Which leaves us with one last really big question, doesn't it? We have the science, we have the medicine. If the cure is just a single pill or one shot away, why do these forgotten diseases that thrive in poverty and poor hygiene, still even exist? It's a question worth thinking about. Thanks for joining us on MediByte. If you found this interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.